Red League Podcast. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family, tell your haters. Available on Podbean, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, Good Pods Podcast, Breaker and Stitcher, at Reg League Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, at Reg League Pod on Twitter. Episode 144, available now. Yo, whether you watching this from Facebook, Twitter, click the link in my Instagram, or YouTube itself. What up, world? I just watched Joker, Folie, Deux. It's the sequel to 2019's Joker. It stars Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga, Brendan Gleeson, Catherine Keener, Steve Coogan, Zazie Beetz, and I'm blanking on the dude that played Harvey Dent. Hartley, I don't remember his first name. It is directed by Todd Phillips, who directed Road Trip, Old School, Starsky and Hutch, School for Scoundrels, The Hangover, Due Date, The Hangover Part 2, The Hangover Part 3, War Dogs, and as I said, the original Joker. This movie consists of the fallout and the repercussions of what happened during the first movie. As you can see, one of my most anticipated movies of the year. The last movie on my list that will come out in 2024 that I did in January. And I thought it was good. I felt like, honestly, I think that both of these Joker movies are pointless. They're both very well made. They're both very enjoyable. They're both very well executed, performed, what have you. I just think now having seen both of them, I just think their existence is pointless just so Warner Brothers can make money off of brand recognition, off of the Joker name. Because let's keep it a buck, first of all. Joaquin Phoenix is the fourth best cinematic portrayal of Joker. Like, he's not better than Jack Nicholson. He's not better than Heath Ledger. He's not better than Mark Hamill. I'll put him over Cesar Romero, and I'll put him over Jared Leto. But I do stand by every Joker being perfectly cast for what they were in. Take that how you will. I think Joaquin Phoenix, as a performance, is better in this movie than the original. I was rewatching the original, and when he was like fully Joker, when he was on the show, I didn't like it. I know he was supposed to be completely unhinged and all of this. I didn't like the buildup and how he was performing opposite Robert De Niro doing his like Johnny Carson shtick, right? In this movie, beginning to end, I thought he was great. I thought Lady Gaga was great. I'm also torn, both movies. Well, this goes for comic book movies overall. I'm always torn between wanting comic book accuracy and creators creating their own lore, and I absolutely hate the Harley Quinn backstory for this movie. I mean, it's not spoilers because it doesn't happen, but she's not the psychologist who Joker manipulates and she falls in love with him, right? Also, like, Joaquin Phoenix plays a dude with mental health issues who paints his face and calls himself Joker. And that's the Todd Phillips, everybody that wrote, that's this world's version of Joker for these two movies. But there's no clown prince of crime, there's no any other attribute of Joker. There's just not. So it's like, to me, this character's not Joker. For these movies, sure. In this Gotham, fine. I can accept all that. Watching these two movies as their own secluded Batman doesn't even exist yet because he's 12. Bruce Wayne is 12. There's no Batman yet, but there's a Joker. Fine, I can accept it. It's a good watch. I don't even like that Harvey Dent is in this sequel, but the Harvey Dent that I know is like college best friends with Bruce Wayne. I like the tension, like I like the performances. The story is just the fallout of the first movie. There's no jokering about it. Obviously he puts on the paint, obviously he laughs. And I feel like they lightened up on that laughing condition from the first movie too. He does have outbursts of laughter, but it's not as heavy as the first movie. And there are scenes where he's just not doing shit, but he's not laughing uncontrollably either. I thought Brendan Gleeson was good. I thought Catherine Keener was good. I thought Steve Coogan. And I feel like the scene with Steve Coogan, Zazie Beetz, they're like included in the cast. They have one primary scene, right? But it's just like the back and forth between Arthur Fleck and Steve Coogan could have been played so much different. I would have written it differently. And I feel like what is going to turn off a lot of people is the singing. I feel like it'll never be talked about. It'll never be admitted, whatever. I feel, we got Lady Gaga. She said yes. Okay, like we have to include singing. I just feel like that's how it went. It's a cheap gimmick because she's a great singer and because she was great in A Star Is Born and sang in A Star Is Born, and she's great in this. It's just, it boils down to the competition. But in back-to-back years, like she won Best Supporting Actress, didn't she? If she didn't win Best Actress, she won an acting Oscar for A Star Is Born. Then Joaquin won an acting Oscar for Joker. I feel like the expectation is that they're both going to be nominated again, but it just boils down to who else kills it this award season. And it's like, even though this is a movie of two halves, the first half is the preparation, and it's like the second half is the main event, in a way. I feel like the execution of this movie partly felt episodic, because like the lights would always go down. Like there was always a fade to black, and then it would come back up. But it also kind of make it felt like a stage play. And like that ties into me to the tagline, "The world is a stage." Like, I felt a sense of tension throughout. But then the musical numbers that were sprinkled in didn't take me out of it, but the songs did start to feel like overkill. And also, if they would have kept the songs in their minds, see, like the first one was cool because eventually we found out what all was in Arthur's mind. This one doesn't really do that, and it would have been cool if they would have stuck to that and be like, okay, like everything that was sung was a hallucination, was something imaginary. They didn't do that. And if they thought they were doing that, it wasn't done very well. So like there may be some tonal inconsistencies, but not enough that I disliked what I was watching. And also, the end of this movie, geeks are going to run wild with fan theories regarding the end of this movie. All I'm saying is, that's not it. That is not what was going, like, if you watched the podcast, if you heard the podcast last week, my man Rocket said some shit, and I think after seeing the movie, he predicted, he guessed, spot the fuck on. And that's all I will say about that. I don't think this is as good as the first movie. The first movie just had that Taxi Driver, King of Comedy, rip off, but the vibes were good. It was a good. The vibes were good, but you could tell where the inspirations came from. This movie doesn't totally feel like another movie. It feels like a continuation of the story, but there wasn't anywhere that they could have done a lot of world building or anything that good sequels do. But I still think this is a good sequel. I feel like I'm being heavily critical, but I did like what I watched. If there's a Joker 3, I'm gonna be pissed. I feel like this is a really good contained 2-movie arc, as pointless as the whole reasoning for why it was made may be. Yeah, hopefully Todd Phillips decides to make his next movie something original, go back to comedy. I don't know. But we just don't need Joker 3. So, in closing, I feel like I want to say good movie, good performances, some good singing, but too much singing. And with all that being said, I will say that in my opinion, Joker, Folie, Deux, somebody from France, tell me how you really enunciate those words, was dope. Have you seen Joker, Folie, Deux? I know Deux is French for two. Hot Shots Part Deux, Hot Shots Part 2. But also, Folie, Deux supposedly means something regarding mental illness. I'm not sure. Have you seen it? What you think? Positive, negative, somewhere in between? Let me know. I recently put up a top 3 movies of the third quarter video. I recently put up a review for The Wild Robot. And the week before that, Transformers 1. Next week, this all depends on my theater, but I hope to watch and review Saturday Night. The week after that, I'm pretty sure tickets are already on sale, but I hope to watch and review Smile 2. Didn't see the first one because the vibes were a little... I didn't know what the vibes were, but I am being counseled that the vibes are okay for me to go see. As I already referenced, Rec League Podcast, we put up a fourth quarter preview, talked about what we want to see October, November, December, and check that out for me, man. Like, subscribe, comment, find me where you find me. If you don't know where to find me, watch these credits. Peace.